quiet, please. Oh my God, shh. Film's about to start.
Hello world, welcome to Drew's Reviews, and today's film we'll be discussing Ballerina. Directed by Len Wiseman, is an action thriller set within the John Wick universe. It follows a young woman trained in discipline and death who seeks answers after a personal loss shatters the only life she's known. Her journey takes her through a dangerous underground where past loyalties are tested and new threats emerge at every turn. I am a fan of the John Wick franchise. I won't say I'm the biggest fan, but I have a lot of fun going to see these movies. I haven't been super excited about this film. The trailers have been okay. It's piqued my interest. I'm not very fond of spin-off movies or spin-off shows, but sometimes it works. To me, most of the time it doesn't. So my excitement for this film was not all there. Plus, I had heard a couple years ago that they had screened this movie after shooting it and they were like, it's not enough action in it, and so they put more action in it, and I was a little worried or concerned that the film wouldn't turn out as great, so I went in with a lot of reserved excitement. Now, I did have a couple of issues with this film. The first being it was too long, and like I said, my concern with them adding in more action might have been the issue with that. You could tell a lot of the action scenes were drawn out more than they probably should have been. I had the same issue with John Wick 4. Those action scenes to me were so long, and I know a lot of people like that, but for me it's just so much, and I just feel oversaturated and overstimulated during all of those really long 10-minute action scenes. Now, just to be clear, I love my violent action films, but to me, it's just like everything else. It's a tool, and if the tool is overused, it can just be a bit much. Especially at the beginning, there's this really long scene that they definitely could have shortened. Now, the story for me was very meh.
No.
And not saying that movies like this have to have a story that's Oscar worthy or something like that, which in the John Wick franchise, they really haven't shown the story to be its strongest suit except for the first one and maybe the second one. But the other ones have been more along the lines of just the action scenes and putting John Wick in these crazy situations. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to sacrifice one for the other.
Very nice. Thank you for the sacrifice. Please have another sacrifice. No, I've had enough for the day.
And that's what I feel they did with this film. They sacrificed story for action. And there's a lot of action in this film from beginning to end. It's fine if you have a lot of action, but if you don't have a story that carries the audience through the movie, it's harder for those action scenes to really take.
Might be considered kind of a step backwards, wouldn't you say?
And that was kind of my biggest issue with the film, is that the action scenes were great, but I wasn't necessarily shocked at the things happening because of the character that's going through this whole vengeance tour. I was just shocked because of what was actually happening. Like, she just threw that thing in that guy's head and how it looked, which is great. You got the shock factor out of me, but there wasn't any real concern for the character herself. So it was just, you're watching this indestructible person go through all of these things. Now, they do try and show that she's struggling to fight these people, but at certain points it just seemed too unrealistic. And yes, we're talking about the same franchise where John Wick falls down 36,000 stairs. And survives.
Yeah.
and also has like a bulletproof suit. Even still, I rolled my eyes a little bit at that part. Besides all of that, Len Wiseman, the director, did such a great job with the action in some sections of the movie, and some of the hits that these people take look really gruesome, really gritty. You feel like she's getting hit hard and she's actually taking these shots. I like how that just because she's this female assassin, that she's not throwing these guys around like they're rag dolls. She really has to push her weight and really put her entire body on the line just to get the upper hand, and it looked really great. Just to talk about the cast a little bit, Norman Reedus, I thought he was good in the film. Ian McShane, of course, always great to see him reprise his role in this franchise, and he has one of the greatest voices in cinema history to me. It was really nice seeing Keanu Reeves come back. Now, that was one part I was a little worried about because I thought they were going to nerf John Wick just to make Ana de Armas's character Eve look really cool. I thought they were going to sacrifice him in that way. I'm happy to say that they didn't make that mistake. And of course, it was wonderful seeing Lance Reddick reprise his role. Such a great actor, another actor with a wonderful voice. So sad that he passed away in 2023, but I'm glad he was able to be in this film as well, just as a last send-off. Every time I've seen him in anything, he's just such a great treat in that film, and it was really good to see him in this as well. And then last but certainly not least, Ana de Armas. Great actress, and she did such a great job in this film. I've pretty much loved all of her performances and everything she's been in. Even in really terrible films that she's been a part of, I still liked her performance, and it was really cool to see her come into her own as an action star. She was in James Bond, No Time to Die, and I loved her in that. Even though it was a small role, it was really good to see her in that action space. And then she moved to Ghosted, which we're not going to talk about because good lord. And now coming into this John Wick franchise, you can tell that she was prepared and definitely led this film very well. Even with John Wick coming into the film, it still felt like she was the main star, and that just goes to credit how wonderful of an actress she really is. Those were the main actors that stood out to me. Everybody else did a good job, but nothing really notable. Now the action, even though I had that issue with it, it still was really cool to see how they put her in this situation, and you really got to see her use her environment against her enemy, and that was really dope to see. I really enjoyed the third act of this film, even though the story was still a little weak, but I still enjoyed the movie, and that third act is a big reason why. Now, I don't think this is close to the best film in the John Wick franchise. I think they did a good enough job with this movie, so I'm going to give Ballerina a 7 out of 10. If it would have been a little more fast-paced toward the beginning and leading into that second act and then that third act, I would have enjoyed myself a little bit better. I just felt bored at times, not throughout the entire movie, but just at certain sections in the film. But once certain parts get going, that's when I was in for the ride, and at the end of the day, I do think you should go check it out, and maybe you'll have even more fun than I did.
I hope so.
All in all, I enjoyed myself, and I recommend this one as a good time in the theater. Thank you for tuning in to my review of Ballerina. Please like, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments what's your favorite John Wick film, or do you like any of them at all? I would love to hear your thoughts. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.